wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go, now forward ever, backward never. Them they pray make we run down, never, 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 never. I'ma get check, I know. You're the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. When you go check, I know. You're the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know.
You said add some, it wasn't compression, something else to compression.
They never know.
I did it, and it did
They never know. Without you, baby, the journey go too rough. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna wait in this up. It's not blessing, I'ma not be luck. Baby, nobody feel there like you. Rara, rara. I said nobody feel make me feel the way you do. Rara, rara. I'ma get that I know. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. When you go check, I know. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know.
Oh yeah. They never know. Yeah, that's a sync. I'm sure Hohner that. I assume you get paid by Hohner.
They never know. They never know.
Good. Deserve it.
They never know.
Well, I have a Gregoire Moret 48, which I do really like, and I also have a Seidel symphony. But I used to, for a long time, I played the Toots ones, the hard bop and melotone. So that was my go for years.
My lady, you know me, no forgive up when you never wanna be with you forever, forever, forever. Oh baby, where we they go, now forward ever, backward never.
Especially with
them they pray make me run down, never, 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 never. I'ma get that I know. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. When you go check, I know. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know.
Yeah, we're getting used to the 16 hole, okay?
They never know. They never know. Without you, baby, the journey go too rough. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna wait in this up. It's not blessing, I'ma not be luck. Baby, nobody feel there like you. Rara, rara. I said nobody feel make me feel the way you do. Rara, rara. I'ma get that I know. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. When you go check, I know.
Yeah, I
You're the
actually
best I know. Our next move, they never know.
They went to Japan and
they never know.
And he bought something. He bought
They never know. They never know.
tip. I might get some more. I don't play Suzuki. Right, so it's out of you.
They never know. baby, you know me, no fi give up on you never. Wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go, now forward and far backward never. Them they pray make we run down never, 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 never. I'ma get that low. Girl, you're the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check I know. Girl, you're the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know. They never know. Without you, baby, the journey go too rough. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wonder what's in this up. It's not blessing, I'ma not be luck. Baby, nobody feel day like you. Rara, rara. I say nobody feel make me feel the way you do. Rara, rara. I'ma get that low. Girl, you're the best I know. Our next move, they never know.
Check 1, 2, everybody. There we go. Welcome. We're here on the YouTube channel by Hohner. This is Hohner Live episode 108, which is incredible. So, welcome to the stream. Let us know from where you're tuning in the chat. You're welcome to ask questions to our special guest today. He's my podcast colleague, my harmonica podcast colleague. We just talked about the number of episodes we did so far. This is episode 108, and you got 108 coming up too of the Happy Hour Harmonica podcast. Please welcome with me Neil Warren. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, thanks for having me, Konstantin. Pleasure.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a funny coincidence. And we were just talking about like when we started out doing these. And obviously a lot of this stuff, just came about through the whole COVID situation. So do you remember?
I think my first one was in 2020, was it 21? But yeah, I started in COVID, as many people did with these things. So yeah, generally I release them every 2 weeks. Okay. Although at the beginning it was a little bit more random than that. But yeah, generally every 2 weeks now.
Oh yeah, but that makes sense because these are usually like, I usually do twice a month. So yeah, 108 episodes. yeah. Adam West writes, I wish I could be here currently getting warmed up for my harmonica performance in my first musical.
Musical, excellent.
Wow, that's cool, playing harmonica in a musical. I never did that myself. Yeah, let us know from where you're tuning in. Awesome. So, 108 interviews. You put these online on your website. They are on Spotify too, aren't they?
Yeah, so because it's a podcast, then they're available through podcast players, which generally people listen to on their smartphone. So yeah, usually it's a kind of podcast player on the smartphone. They're also on Spotify, and yes, through the website too. But I think most people probably listen on the phone and other ways.
Oh yeah, and starting out doing these, there was probably just the idea of, just podcasts in general are very popular nowadays, right?
Yeah, it's funny because the reason I started doing specifically a podcast is because I also play a bit of mandolin as well. So I listened to a mandolin podcast. Okay. And so that's what kind of inspired me to start, because I thought, I could do this sort of thing with harmonica. So that's kind of what started me doing the podcast. I've always been interested in radio, so obviously we have video here, so people can see me. But I quite like the way that it's just audio and there's no video, and it's just a kind of more of a radio format than a video format, which obviously is very popular these days with YouTube and all.
Yeah, I definitely find myself listening to podcasts while doing some other stuff. That's very, very popular, I think, and that's why. People even listen to stuff that's like 3 hours long.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so let me tell you more about the story about the podcast and how I started. So I've been involved in what was the National Harmonica League, the strangely named harmonica club in the UK for a long time. Involved, went to all the festivals, and I got had some involvement with the committee, and then I've I started doing, a few years before I started doing the podcast, I started doing a gig list, a UK harmonica gig list. So I would then, I would contact all the players, a lot of the players in the UK, and then I would put the gigs on a website. And there was a similar idea. There was a gig list in France run by Patrice Rayon. I think I got his name right there. If you ever listen to this, Patrice. So he did something similar in France, and Roger Trowbridge, who I knew well, he was a chairman of the NEH show for a while. So I started running this gig list, and I ran it for a couple of years. It was quite hard work because it was actually difficult to get the artists to send me the gigs. I was forever having to chase them, so it was quite hard work maintaining it. But I did it for a while, and that kind of got me the contacts with a lot of the UK players. And then when people came from abroad, such as US players came to the UK, then it was good to get those on. So I had that. So that was one part of it. The other part of it for me is for a long time, probably since I've had a smartphone, an iPhone, like in around 2000, I've always built up a huge harmonica collection, and I would listen to kind of as many albums as I could, and I would sort of pick off my favorite harmonica songs, but also covering different styles, different genres, different keys of harmonica, obviously, getting songs in every key of harmonica. Obviously, there's a lot more in the key of A than there is in A flat, but, so I had this huge harmonica collection on my MP3 player. And, I would play along with those as a practice tool. And then I had this, I created later I created a website called Heart Transcripts where I'd put up some harmonica transcriptions.
Exactly.
And
I think I put that one in the description box too.
Yeah, and then I also have on there harp keys, it's called. So all this harmonica collection and all the different keys of harmonica that they played on. They're all diatonic. There is one for chromatic as well, but I don't put that on there. So so that kind of had the idea that listening to lots of, as much as harmonica as I could. So a lot of my podcast is based around the music of the artist, and I do put little clips and things in, which obviously because I edit it and it doesn't go out live, it's a bit easier to do than doing a live thing like this. So yeah, that was another big one.
Oh yeah. How about now? Do you still listen to a lot of harmonica music, or do you enjoy listening to other stuff?
Well, because I do the podcast, every time I interview, whoever I interview, I listen to as much as I can beforehand, and then I take clips from the music. So that is the vast majority of the harmonica I listen to, which is quite a lot, but I do listen to other music as well, for sure, and I don't. But yeah, because I do the podcast, and each time I kind of focus on that person for like 2 weeks before I interview them. So yes, I do still listen to plenty of harmonica from that point of view. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, was there any interview in particular that stood out where you remember actually learning something from the conversation?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd probably say, everyone I learned something for, because, like yourself, after you've done 108, you start to think, when am I going to stop doing this thing? It kind of takes over my life for a few days every 2 weeks. So yeah, I mean, everyone in many ways, I learned something, and that's one of the reasons that I continue it, because it is obviously great to speak to all the harmonica players and learn something from them. A lot of them, obviously, my heroes, and be able to check out all the music, and so yeah, lots of things. Little tips about how they. The stage sort of craft, little tips about how to play. But I mean, generally I talk about their careers, and I don't focus so heavily on kind of techniques and things. I do a little bit of that, but it's more about, their careers and what got them started. And so, yeah. I mean, so as to people, I mean, my 100th episode was a Little Walter retrospective, which I did a lot of research for, and I had 3 people interviewed on there. So that was a fantastic one, really dug deeply into Little Walter's life and career. And I've interviewed Kim Wilson, which was fantastic. Rob Piazza, who I'm a massive fan of. He's one of my favorite players. Billy Boy Arnold, as being one of the real old guys, as being around. And yourself, Konstantin, about 4 episodes ago.
Yeah. That's not too long ago.
No, but you're I'm sure everyone on here knows you're a fantastic player, Konstantin. You're definitely up there.
It's hard to get better. No. Yeah. So after all these 108 interviews, like, is there something you noticed all of these people you interviewed have in common, or something like that?
Yeah, I think with the harmonica, particularly with blues players, it's a little bit different when you get into different genres, and it's different with the chromatic because you tend to find that, not always, but people who are on chromatic maybe approach it a bit more from a traditional music learning way. They're learning scales and arpeggios and the kind of thing that you might traditionally learn on other instruments, which you wouldn't do as much on a diatonic. Although someone like yourself who plays overblows probably does spend lots of time playing scales and arpeggios. So yeah, with the blues players, it tends to be that it's kind of learnt by ear, and that they will play along with records. They'll get into bands quite early on, and and it's quite funny. I mean, the next one coming out is a example of quite often someone's only playing the harmonica for like a couple of years, and then suddenly they're professional. They're in the band and they're touring, and they've only been playing for like 2 years. So that's quite a common thing with sort of blues guys. So yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. But that's a good takeaway, I feel like, for everybody. Just play with real musicians early on, join a band, or at least a jam session,
Yeah, definitely. But when you get into different, I like to cover different styles and genres as well. So it isn't all blues, although of course it's probably a higher percentage is blues. So I quite like playing some traditional stuff myself, kind of old-timey and Irish and that sort of thing as well. So that's really popular these days, I think, as well. Much more harmonica scene in the sort of sessions and people playing that sort of music. So I think that's great, because I think the harmonica sounds fantastic in that genre. Yeah. So yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and after interviewing so many people, I also feel like, there are so many players out there, more than you would imagine, I think.
Yeah.
And then also everybody is like very specialized and has their own thing, It's crazy. How about you? The first time you being on stage, did you play harmonica or did you do something else?
Yeah, harmonica's definitely when I started. So I started playing harmonica when I was 15 years old. The first time on stage, I started playing with my friend Philip James, and he played guitar, so I played harmonica with him. So I sort of played with him at college. We did I remember my first gig. It might have been at college in the student union, as we call it.
Interesting. So, it was similar for me. There was like an anniversary of the school or something.
Yeah, so this was like a sixth form college type place. So so I think that was probably my first time. Just trying to remember the first gigs. Yeah. So I used to play with him, my sort of college band. That was my first time, and got into it then, and the usual way, got into finding sort of budget blues albums that came out back then. It's different. Yeah, I'm a little bit older than you, Konstantin. Back then you had to have cassette tapes. You didn't have all this internet stuff that you could find everything instantly. You had to go on digging through
That's true,
record stores and finding what you could, which was quite limited. But yeah, there was a range of kind of budget albums of blues. So I managed to find the Blues and Muddy Waters and Little Walter and a few others. So yeah, that's what the first sort of harmonica I heard. Well, actually, that's not what got me into harmonica initially. Was quite interesting. Was Bruce Willis. So so the people probably do know that Bruce Willis played harmonica, and so I was into the TV show Moonlighting when I was a teenager, and Bruce Willis was very cool and charismatic. And so from that, I sort of discovered that Bruce Willis played harmonica. He released an album called The Return of Bruno, and I had a DVD with him playing with this big, amazing white suit on and sunglasses. It was all very cool. Yeah, so Bruce Willis is a pretty good harmonica player. So, I think he's probably the one that got me into playing harmonica in the first place, yeah.
Okay. So before that first stage appearance, was there like any nervousness? How did you feel before stepping on stage?
I don't think I would. It's funny playing the harmonica. I never really feel too nervous. I mean, playing other things, I do more, but it's always felt quite natural. I think I guess something that, again, talking to lots of people on the podcast, a lot of people feel that, the harmonica's their thing and it felt quite natural to them. And, they managed to pick it up quite quickly. I mean, I think like a lot of people, when you start playing, you need to really submerge yourself into it, play a lot, kind of get past that early stage as quickly as you can, and then then it felt quite natural. Yeah, I mean, I think the only time I really feel nervous, I've entered some of the NHL harmonica competitions where it's just you up on a stage by yourself, maybe with a backing track or the piano player.
Okay,
I think that's probably the only time I really feel nervous, when you're in that competition time, or when you're playing like completely by yourself. I think when you've got a band and other people, you can kind of merge the sound, and it's not so daunting. Some of the stuff you do though, playing classical and things, that must be pretty daunting.
Yeah, there can be difficult solo passages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or once I played Flight of the Bumblebee with an orchestra.
Yeah.
And that was kind of scary.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I've never done anything like that.
You're really like in the spotlight, And then it's like something that, I mean, the diatonic harmonica really isn't meant to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then obviously the first time stepping on stage, I was very nervous. I would imagine I would also be nervous in a competition kind of setting, but I never competed in any harmonica way ever.
No, have you not? Okay. Yeah, you've never been down to Trossingen and competed there, have you not?
I mean, I've been to the festival and stuff, but I've been the judge from the beginning on.
Yeah, you've been the judge. Brilliant. Yeah, so actually when I did the NHL competitions, which I did for maybe like 5 years in a row, again, for people listening, I thought that was a really good way to, to sort of push myself on. It makes you obviously kind of get some pieces up to a good standard so you can perform them, and, playing in front of people and the sort of, it's somewhat intimidating. A judge sitting staring at you and things is quite a good way to test yourself. So yeah, I thought that was quite a good way to push myself. I did manage to win in the three categories I entered in, which was the blues and the melodic, and then the jazz, which I played on Chromatic.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So looking back at the path of you learning the instrument, is there anything you would do differently right now, or like you would like to focus more on?
So now I am learning, I still play lots of harmonica, but I'm currently actually taking violin grades. So I've been learning the violin. Another COVID project I started. So as I say, I play some mandolin. So because the violin's tuned the same as the mandolin, I actually have been having, I'm actually doing my grade 4 violin exam in a couple of months' time. I did my grade 3 last year, which is the first one. So I really like the way that, the sort of formal structure of that the violin is taught. I don't necessarily really want to become a violin player, although of course it'd be nice to play some. I don't play the violin in public yet. It isn't quite there to that level, but and I don't practice it quite enough for that. But the formality of the teaching of the violin, it's such a well-structured thing. They've been teaching it for hundreds of years. There's so much material. It's like, if you want to have this technique, or here's a study in this book about how to do it. It's just so well mapped out. It's amazing about how well structured it is. And having a teacher who is, very on the ball about, teaching the right techniques. And I've had lessons of harmonica lessons in the past, and also mandolin. But I find that the violin teaching is just so good because it's kind of so well honed, So I would definitely recommend to people that it's worth getting a teacher, because obviously you can learn off videos, and that's fine. And obviously it does cost money to have a teacher, but to have someone who can really help you, but getting a good teacher, who can help you and make sure that they're, pointing out the what you need to work on, and giving you the right exercises to progress and all that sort of thing, I think is worthwhile. Did you ever have a teacher
on harmonica? So I started out very autodidactically, but then through these harmonica forums online, the first German pro blues player, let's say, got in touch with me, and he was like, yeah, I don't know, you're kind of talented, like, are you interested in getting 4 basic lessons from me via Skype? And that's how this whole thing started, and I found out, oh yeah, that's amazing, I can get online lessons from anyone in the world, and then got some lessons with Ben Baumann from the Netherlands, and then I just started to ask my YouTube heroes,
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
I mean, that was definitely helpful, but yeah, YouTube was amazing too.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, when I was younger and learning, YouTube didn't exist. So again, the resources these days to be able to go and find all that content is incredible. However, in many ways there's too much of it, and it's very easy to jump from one thing to the other. I think that's the one danger with it. You've got to remain a bit focused, so that you don't kind of just jump around from randomly from one thing to the other. But yeah, I mean, there's loads of great courses as well. You can do sort of online courses, and you can have. I know you've had a few lessons with Howard Levy, right? So he's got his artist works thing. So there are set things like that too, and lots of players have that sort of thing as well. So yeah, worth looking into for sure. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even with mixing, I got lessons, and I should get a teacher. I started to learn Arabic 18 days ago, and I should get a teacher.
This is playing or speaking?
Speaking Arabic.
Speaking. Wow. Okay, let's hear some then.
No. It's like I started out just like learning the alphabet. That's like the first thing, and
yeah.
I mean, I got the first sentences down and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm starting to. I added the Arabic keys to my phone, like the keyboard basically. Just starting to type some of that stuff, It's like, it's a whole new world with a.
What's making you learn that then?
Alphabet. I don't know. I just want to understand some of the music I listen to.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's a good reason.
Yeah. I'm listening to a lot of Arabic pop music.
Yeah, because you do some recordings in that genre, don't you?
Yeah, it would be cool to understand. And it's such a beautiful language. The alphabet looks so beautiful.
Yeah.
It sounds great. And it's like something completely new, something you have to learn from the ground up. It's like really like a little child starting to learn the alphabet, which is a new experience, kind of,
Do you speak any other languages?
Even if I start out playing another instrument, I already have some musical knowledge.
Yeah.
But starting out how to learn Arabic, there's like basically no knowledge at all.
Yeah, that must be quite challenging. It's just completely different than English and German and Good
but
luck
yeah,
with that.
other instruments. Yeah, my little hobby is playing the chromatic right now.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You play overblows and play chromatic on the diatonic, so yeah, you're finding it an easy transition.
Yeah, I just got to get used to the slide, just coordinating. It felt like you started out on the diatonic, right?
I did. I've played the diatonic for quite a few years. Then I played some chromatic when I was young, and I sort of bought a book and I started doing scales and playing chromatic. But then when I was about 30 years old, I'm 50 now. I had lots of lessons with a fantastic jazz chromatic player called Julian Jackson, who lives in London. So I had sort of like 100 lessons with him. So I had lots of lessons with him on chromatic.
Okay.
So I sort of concentrated quite a lot on chromatic in the 30s. Now I still play it, but I sort of now play the diatonic probably a little bit more. But I still play the chromatic, but not quite as serious as I was into it back then. I'm a bit between the two, a bit more diatonic these days.
And how did you feel about like adding the slide after playing so much diatonic?
Yeah, it feels different. It's almost a different instrument. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities as well. The layout, the notes. But yeah, obviously, you're playing in one key on the chromatic. Multiple keys. I'm using one key of chromatic. It doesn't have the expression and the bending capability that you have on the diatonic, which for you, I imagine, would be quite a difference because playing overblows, you get all the expression of the diatonic whilst being able to bend. For you, I guess that'll be quite a shift in your approach. So, but I think from the point of view of reading music, the chromatic makes a lot of sense to play instead of the diatonic. Although I'm sure you could probably read quite well on the diatonic. But yeah, for reading music, for definite, chromatic makes sense. And it's got certain advantages over the. And it sounds great when you play third position blues too. Don't forget that. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, for me it's just like at some point with the diatonic you get so good on it and you can imagine practicing and playing in your mind and you know exactly how it feels and how it sounds. But of course it takes some time to develop that on the chromatic too. And it's just hard for me to envision myself playing something using the slide, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, what sort of music are you planning to play on the Chromatic?
I'm planning to play a lot of octaves, and I mean, I think the biggest hero to do that on the Chromatic is Franco Luciani, who's playing a lot of tango music.
Yeah.
I would say he's the best playing octaves on the Chromatic.
Yeah.
Because he actually makes it sound like a bandoneon too, and starts out playing that one note, one side of his mouth, and then starts to add the other one, the octave, while still playing the note. Like, I think that's something that happens on the bandoneon too.
Yeah.
And he just imitates it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if somebody else does that.
No. Well, the tango music's amazing too, isn't it? So that sounds incredible on there. I know Joe
But
Powers.
also, I had some pieces in the past. We had like these classical compositions written for my pianist and I, and there was one piece I could have played on a G harmonica, but it was like just a whole bunch of long-held notes and a lot of alterations, a lot of blow bands and overdraws and everything. And I just had to be honest with myself and play it on the Chromatic.
Yeah. Well, because you play a lot of classical, don't you, these days? So yeah, that's. Would you consider shifting to the Chromatic for the classical?
No, not really. That's not something I want to do.
No.
I want to use it as a flavor in popular music. Sometimes it's just a better sound that fits the music. Yeah.
It was sort of cleaner and yeah. Very good.
Interesting. Something like that coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So, what are your favorite instruments to play right now? Which models do you prefer? And did you try some alternate tunings or stuff like that?
Yeah. So, well, this is Hohner Live XL. I'll say first that yes. I like the Hohner crossovers a lot, as the Diatonics. That's what I played a lot.
That's why I'm wearing the T-shirt today.
Yeah, you're wearing the T-shirt. Yeah, the crossovers are great. So, I do also I've become to like the Seidel Lightnings, which are the sort of top end Diatonics. They're sort of metal bodies. They're quite heavy, but yeah, they're very nice. I think out of the box, they're sort of set up. I think they polish the reeds. All the tolerances are good. So yeah, I also play those quite a lot now. So it's between the Seidel Lightnings and the Hohner crossovers, mainly in the Diatonics.
But does that also feel differently for you? Just the different materials?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, a long time I played, Hohner Marine Band, so I was used to a wooden comb. So yes, I think the Lightnings, because they've got a metal comb, they're a little bit brighter sounding as well. So yes, it is different. Yeah, it is different, and the size are a little bit different. You feel it more in Chromatics, because Chromatics can be quite different in their size. Like the CX12, it's got reasonably large mouthpiece, whereas some of the other ones have got sort of smaller mouthpieces in there. So that does make quite a difference on the Chromatics. But yeah, the Diatonic's not so bad because they're quite small.
Yeah.
So yeah, but of course I've tried. I've got, like everybody, I'm sure, I've got lots of different sorts of harmonicas and different models and manufacturers. So yeah, mainly the crossover and the Lightnings are them, and then Chromatics. A long time I played the Hohner Toots models, the hard bopper and the mellotones. But now I play the Suzuki Gregoire Moret G48 and the Seidel Symphony, which is more for kind of playing reading music. It's not so much for jamming it out like on some of the others. It doesn't really suit playing blues and things like that. But it's more kind of orchestral type chromatic. But it's nice. It's nice.
Okay, but all of them are in standard tuning, or?
Yeah, the only tuning I really play is the Paddy Richter tuning, where you raise the three blow upper tone. I've got a few different ones. I've got also what's called the easy third tuning, where you tune the bottom octave the same as the middle octave, so that you've got like
so you
third
got the
position.
D minor chord on the door.
Yeah, so it's kind of like third position harmonica, really, and then you can play other stuff on it, but yeah, you can play octave third position in the the bottom two octaves. So that's nice. So I use that a little bit, but not so much. I mainly play the Paddy Richters on diatonic, which I do play a lot when I'm playing tunes, as we call it, kind of traditional tunes like old timey and Irish. I'll pretty much always use a Paddy Richter tuning. But with the chromatics, because I play chromatic, then I sort of consider those to be, I play whatever scale and things I want on the chromatic. So I think if you play chromatic like that, then you tend to think about using the chromatic. Whereas obviously you as an overblow player, you would sort of think you would just do that on the diatonic. So it's a sort of similar thing on the chromatic. Yeah. So I don't have lots of different tunings, a few, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have some students playing Paddy Richter, and there's somebody playing diminished too on the diatonic. That's always cool. I gotta rethink everything, and I gotta put up the layout of the instrument in front of me so I can tell him the right stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure with the diminished, because you can only play a diminished scale. Then I'm not sure how much you can do with that. It might suit like a short section of a song, but if you're playing like a jazz song, you're only going to get a diminished chord, like as part of the song. So I'm not sure you could play a whole song on a diminished tuning. But I've never really tried. When I played one very briefly, but I've never actually really tried to play one. So maybe I need to give it a go. The other thing that I use, which I'm quite big on, is the DM48 MIDI chromatic nowadays.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to say I love that thing, and it's fantastic. And on that, you can put whatever tuning you like in there, and then you can change key, you can change octave. So it's amazingly versatile in that you can do all those things. So I often, will change key on the chromatic, and then play it in third position, or other scales by changing key, which what suits the the song I'm playing, and it allows you to play other instrument sounds like trumpets and saxophones and things, which is in one of the bands I'm in, it works really well, because the good thing about the DM48, and the thing you may notice about the chromatic, is in a band setting, unless you're kind of playing big octaves like blues, the chromatic is quite a gentle sounding instrument. It's easy to get lost in the sound, particularly when you've got kind of full drum kits and electric guitars and things. So the DM48, because it goes straight into the PA, you can kind of turn it up as loud as you want. It competes very well. It never ever feeds back. So it kind of works quite well in a noise, like a diatonic does, because the diatonic, because it's got the power, it works in a band setting. Whereas the chromatic, it might be me, but it more suits playing with pianos and things, where it's not really kind of full on electric sounds, unless you're playing kind of blues and big octaves and things, which is a bit different.
Yeah, and I've never got into the MIDI thing, because I felt like, I'm not too accustomed to the chromatic tuning,
Yeah.
So it's not really worth getting into that. Whereas diatonic with a slide might be interesting for me,
Yeah. Well, you can play the MIDI in third position, so people who just play third position chromatic, which is pretty much like playing diatonic third position, you can just play it like that, and then that. So if anyone did feel they wanted to try it, then you could just do it that way, and that works great too. I actually do play it in third position quite a lot, because that's the kind of easiest way to play a chromatic, right? So yeah.
You got the easy third with you?
I'm not sure I have, actually. I don't have it here.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have it here. I have a Paddy Richter here, but no, unfortunately not. I'm in my little room, which is in my sort of garage attic, so I don't have all my stuff here. Well, harmonicas all around the house, but no, it's downstairs.
There's a question by Cathal Johnson. Harmonicas. Do you play with reverse slide for Irish music, aka Eddie Clark style or Irish style? Imitates roll note for note.
Is that Cathal Johnson, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi Cathal. I know Cathal. Yeah, we've met before. No, I don't play. I don't really play Irish music on chromatic. I know some people do it very well, and such as Eddie's mentioned there. And I've interviewed a few people about Irish music on the podcast. But no, I don't play Irish music. I play it on the Paddy Richter diatonic. So okay. I'm not a real Irish player expert. I play more old timey than Irish. I do play a reasonable amount of Irish, but yeah, I'm not a real Irish playing expert. So yeah, probably I'll defer to other more knowledgeable people in in that area. Rick Epping, I know. Cathal knows. I'm sure. I think Cathal knows him. Yeah, he's a fantastic player who lives in American player who lives in Ireland now, and he'll answer all those sorts of questions.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, early on I really got into Irish music too, just like going through Brenton Power's Irish harmonica book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at that point, sorry Brenton, somebody sent it to me over ICQ. You remember that chat platform? So yeah, and I worked through it.
Yeah, no, I had that book too, and another one. But it's interesting that once you start getting into this, and again, I don't want to do a disservice to Brendan and other people who release it, but if you start playing kind of traditional tunes like that, you don't need to get a harmonica book, really. You just need to get a book with tunes in and then just work out how to, translate those notes onto harmonica. And then you buy a book and it's got like 1,000 tunes in. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess if you choose one like Brendan's, then it probably works reasonably well on the harmonica and that sort of thing. And it's got the tab in there, which is useful if you don't know how to work out what the notes are, the music notes. Yeah.
Yeah. But now playing some more chromatic, I'm even jealous of like violin, because I'm just thinking of all the trills you can play between any interval, basically.
Yeah.
Which are very important in Arab music. So I think Brandon came up with some ideas for like diatonic trills on a chromatic kind of,
Yeah, no, he has.
But there's probably no way to make a harmonica player choose if they want to trill diatonically or chromatically, right, on one single instrument.
Yeah, well, what Brendan did as one of his slide diatonics is so on the slide he makes it raise a tone rather than a semitone, because they will, instruments, such as the violin, they'll trill a tone rather than a semitone, which is what you get on a chromatic, obviously. So that's one of the things that Brendan came up with when he started doing his kind of slide diatonics and other things. He's in marvelous creations. He's come up with various solutions like that. Yeah. Because
you would have to put like 60 reeds in a 10 hole to do something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or just put like, I don't know. I don't know if there's a possibility of like letting the harmonica player choose if they want to trill diatonically or chromatically.
Yeah, well, again, interesting talking about the DM48, because you're able to change the tuning whenever you want. So you can set up lots of different tunes to do that sort of thing. Now, I don't do that because I don't play lots of different tunes. And I know, obviously, there's someone that Brendan does. And he plays a DM48 to some extent. And he has set up some of those things, and he'll play like 18 different tunings. I don't really do that. I do use a little bit of different tunings, but not to that extent. So, but it'd be interesting as computer music progresses over the years, that'll just become better and easier to do. So, but yeah, of course, we all love our normal, real harmonicas too.
That's true. Yeah. DM48X is a lot of fun too. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I never got one.
Yeah. No, check it out. I'm sure you do some great things with it. Yeah. It's interesting. Very interesting.
So I'm playing some more chromatic, more chromatic than ever. What's like the best advice you got playing chromatic, getting these 100 lessons?
Well, again, I know you obviously play jazz. Are you playing jazz on the chromatic, or it's Arabic music, or what?
I also play a little jazz.
Oh, pop. You're talking about pop as well, weren't you too? Yeah. So. I mean, I was learning jazz, which a lot of people do on the chromatic. I think, if you're getting into jazz, then it all becomes quite, there's lots of scales and chord structures that you need to learn to play over. So it's a lot of, learning to play the changes and playing, the scales and arpeggios over them, and then trying to get the jazz language and get the right phrasing on that matches the style of music that you're playing in jazz in that case. So, I mean, I think a lot of it with the chromatic is the attack, as I mentioned earlier on, to get the sound. And if you're playing kind of pop stuff, you want it to be quite punchy. I mean, the kind of Stevie Wonder a little bit, I guess. You know, he gets a lovely punchy sound out of it all the time. So, and I'm sure I heard you play some chromatic. I'm sure you're doing that very well. But yeah, it's just getting your head around playing in different keys, and you know, for people who are maybe starting out on the chromatic, playing songs in different keys, and so much to learn. It's endless.
What's your least favorite key to play in on the chromatic?
It tends to be harder when there's lots of sharps, you know, something like B, you know, where you've got to, you know, you've only got two notes which aren't as sharp. So the sort of ones in the middle, probably something like B or something, but it's not too bad. I can play in reasonably well in most keys on the chromatic. I spent quite a lot of time practicing that, so it's not so hard when you practice it and get used to playing the different keys. So yeah.
Can you show something super basic but jazzy for the audience out there on the chromatic?
Oof. I'll have a look. One of the first songs I learned, which is a real standard, which lots of people learn, is Autumn Leaves. So, I mean, what a lot of people, if people want to learn jazz, then learning the melodies is obviously a good place to start. So, but a lot of people maybe then don't go so far away from past learning the melodies. So, so this song is in the key of G minor, so that the first notes are start on a G and then go up to the E flat. So we're working around the G minor scale, which is so there's something nice and basic and easy. And then you've got the I have to remember what the chords are now, but it's been a while since I played this song. But then you get these kind of patterns over the chord structure, which is I didn't play it very well. Did I do that again?
Yeah, so a lot of arpeggiating.
So that's going from a C minor to an F to a B flat to an E flat to a D major, I think. So yeah, so that's kind of a pattern arpeggio over how you would play over a sort of chord structure in jazz, and that's a kind of typical pattern you might play over that. So yeah, so that's something reasonably straightforward on chromatic.
Yeah, it's funny because like I would be, if I would play this on the diatonic now, I would just play it, but now if I would have to do this on the chromatic, I would be like, oh yeah, let me put on the sheet music and you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And then I would be able to play them, and then I can read the music and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I could read on the diatonic too, but I mean, I played it on the diatonic before, so I don't have to look at the sheet music. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's that challenge between, reading and then getting away from the reading, and so.
But it's actually a really good key to play in on the chromatic.
Yeah, it is for sure. Yeah.
Because then you're in B flat major, and B flat major is a nice key on the chromatic. Yeah.
Yeah, it is
you've
very nice.
Got some nice, a lot of natural notes, but the best, also some half-step motion within the scale using the slide, which makes a good key to play on the chromatic. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, and the movement when you use the repeated notes like the C works well on the B flat, and also the draw notes I think tend to work better, a bit like on the diatonic where you draw more in second position than you do in so that tends to make it work quite well on the chromatic as well. Yeah. So,
I always tend to start out, if I just play something on the chromatic, I usually tend to play something in C minor.
Yeah.
That's a really good key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in a similar way, yeah.
So yeah, you just did a lot of arpeggiation stuff. So did you ever get into that stuff on the diatonic too?
Not so much, no. I think, I'm aware of what I'm playing when I'm playing blues, about playing over the blues chords that I'm on and doing arpeggios there, the usual sort of typical kind of walking bass line type things. For sure, that's kind of arpeggiated. And when I'm playing tunes, then I will try and play over the chords, and then that would include some arpeggios as well. But not in the same way. Again, maybe you as an overblow player would be really thinking in the way of arpeggios and chords. I think a lot of people who play diatonic probably don't think in that way, because it's you just tend to play because it's in the right key, right, most of the time, because it's a diatonic. So yeah, it's not so much as you do, I'm sure. I heard you do your fantastic Happy Birthday rendition on YouTube just last few days, and you did some arpeggiated things in there, didn't you? Which sounded great, yeah.
So, do you also teach harmonica? After getting so many lessons, do you teach on chromatic, diatonic?
I do some teaching, a little bit online, and in the past I've taught. I used to go to a harmonica club that I was part of, and so I used to be there was about 3 of us who used to do, and we used to share it out a little bit, and it wasn't really that as if we were the teachers, but I used to do quite a lot there. So that's what I kind of started out doing. And then I have done a few workshops at some of the NHL festivals in the past. I used to help run the Chromatic weekend, which I helped run for about 5 years before the pandemic. So I did a few workshops there. So, but yeah, I do some teaching online, but not lots. I've got a day job, and I'm busy playing and doing podcasts and things. So a little bit of teaching, when requested. But yeah.
Yeah. How does the first lesson look like?
So for me, obviously depends on what level they're at. But as people tend to be beginners to pushing intermediate, then it tends to be getting them to play single notes is the first lesson. Getting them to breathe naturally and not force it too much. Trying to get clean single notes so they don't get lots of airy sounds. And then I tend to do some hand vibrato because that's a nice way to get some nice tone early on. And then I'll maybe, depending if they're able to play single notes, I'll do a little bit of a kind of partial blues kind of scale, but without any bends, just kind of going up the kind of arpeggio notes to play the kind of G7 kind of chord thing. A bit of bending if possible, if they're able, and then always do a train with the first few lessons, because the train, of course, is an easy thing to play because you don't have to play single notes, and it teaches you lots of things like how to play rhythm and how to get used to the breathing and how to get rid of air and all sorts of good stuff. So yeah, the train's a great tool to get people playing early on.
Yeah, I think with the harmonica teaching, I mean, at the beginning it's like super motivating if you start out with the teacher. You can do some chordal stuff, some chugging and all that stuff. That's fun. It sounds good already, you know?
Yeah.
And then maybe you are even good at playing single notes as a beginner, getting those lessons. But I think that at some point there's like, you realize that this is going to be way harder than you thought.
Yeah.
Which is different with other instruments. I mean, with the violin, it's like terrible in the beginning, just getting some good sound.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. It's like it has both its up and down sides.
I think that exactly. I think people think the harmonica will be easy to play because you just blow and suck, right? But I think actually when it comes to
and then also after the first few lessons, they are like on fire and like chugging and it feels great and then you start doing some more complex melodies, whatever. Yeah.
So I think it's it's more difficult than people think to begin with. Getting the single notes is tough. Getting the bent notes is tough. But once you get over those first 2 hurdles, then you can start progressing, as you say there. So but I think a lot of people discouraged by those early first attempts. So yeah.
Did you ever have students who never learned how to bend?
For sure, and certainly can't bend particularly well. Just kind of make a wavering sound, right, and don't really bend it. So that's not uncommon to people not to be able to bend very well, or at all.
Interesting, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I had the experience before, yeah. And I don't know what to do. I got no idea.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to teach because it's all hidden, right? You know, in your mouth. It's, you know, when you're playing like a stringed instrument, you can kind of see what you're doing and things. But when it's all quite subtle mouth and tongue and throat movements, you know, it's kind of hard to really explain that, isn't it? It was interesting, you know, I think if you've seen that Howard Levy's video he did when he went to a hospital and they actually did a kind of scan. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it shows like where his tongue and his throat and things. And you know, only by doing that can you really see what's going on when you're teaching harmonica.
Yeah, that's true. I was also thinking about some live visuals for harmonica. Because it's like so... I mean, it's not as physical as playing another instrument, and I'm always jealous of a drummer and stuff like that. So, I don't know, you need like a glass comb and some lights in there that respond to the air that you...
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and then just have that as a backdrop, whatever. Or actually have a little camera in there, but I'm not sure if anyone wants to see that.
Of course, you just got your book. Is your book just come out now, is it? DIY Harmonica it's called, isn't it?
Soon.
Soon,
So
yeah.
it's on my iPad digitally now. Basically the final version. I'm just like proofreading one more time. But the video material's done. There's like 1 hour, 10 minutes. Which is solid, I think. And we got like 20 songs that we actually recorded, me and a guitarist.
Yeah.
And backing tracks. And yeah, all of the exercises have audio to them too. And then it's 152 pages now instead of 128.
No. And who's that aimed at? What level?
It's for beginners. So it really starts at the very beginning. And it definitely teaches. But then it also turns into kind of a songbook.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to have like a lot of songs in there.
Yeah.
And I'm not against that. So there are pieces in second to third, fourth, fifth, and 12th position.
Yeah. So you're teaching overblows as well, are you?
I think at some point I had to, at the very end. But yeah, just because there were like 2 or 3 overblows in those melodies, I wanted to put in there.
Yeah.
Which aren't totally necessary, but they were like, there's an overblow in there. You gotta teach how to do overblows before you put them into the book, you know? So, yeah, it makes sense.
Well, yeah, good luck with
At
that.
least give people a taste of that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, superb. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be going well for you.
Yeah, I got like 4 or 5 of my own songs in there, or own compositions, kind of.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and the audio examples sound really good because the guitarist was amazing. So those are actually some nice harmonica recordings I would listen to, even like not considering the book at all.
Who's the publisher for your book?
Oh, it will be published by Hal
Leonard, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so we get the music publishing company.
Yeah, we just finished the cover, added a new picture there, because they put like a stock photo of somebody playing harmonica at first in the lower right hand corner, but that person wasn't even holding the harmonica properly. And I was like, yeah, we got to change that. So it has to be me holding the harmonica properly, you know.
It's got you with your sharp suit on, is it? That.
Oh yeah, but it's like a live concert picture, I think.
Yeah. Nice.
And then they always put like a little screenshot of like the video material that is included. But yeah, I also found a good screenshot, because usually like nowadays for YouTube videos and stuff, you just start a new recording, just like trying some positions for screen grab that could work as a thumbnail, right? But I didn't do that back then for the videos that are part of the book, because I didn't know they put like a screen grab on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found one that works.
Great, yeah. Yeah, good. So you've done videos as well, yeah, so you got that accompanying it. Does that mean you can add to it, or is it just the videos for the songs that you've done?
That's interesting. I could definitely add to the videos. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
That's not a bad idea. At some point, one could consider that.
Mm-hmm. You're an expert video of your YouTube channel. You get videos coming out at least every week, don't you? So.
Oh, I'm not sure. Just sometimes I'm announcing these harmonica challenges.
Yeah.
And yeah, I should announce one again. We're gonna do the next one next week Friday. We're shooting for kind of an R&B soul kind of challenge. Something that could work well on the Chromatic with a Stevie Wonder sound.
Yeah.
On a CX12 or something like that, a bandy Chromatic. And yeah, I will record a little announcement video, and I know that you can win a CX12 this time.
Okay, cool.
Which isn't too bad.
No, I've never done one of your challenges. Maybe I should try it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a CX12 or two, but yeah, always good to have another one.
Yeah, I got this is like the first Chromatic I ever got when my endorsement deal started with Hohner. They sent me this CX12, and I was like super disappointed because I was like, I'm not playing Chromatic at all. Like, why do you send me a CX12 Jazz?
Yeah.
But now it comes in handy, you know? And I like playing it.
Yeah, very good. I've never tried the Jazz one. It's got that smaller mouthpiece, isn't it? Narrower mouthpiece.
It's just the mouthpiece and the color, right?
Yeah, I think that's the only difference, that they call it the Jazz. I don't think there's anything else jazzy about it, but yeah.
Yeah, but I played this on stage and played Isn't She Lovely on this one before, and
oh yeah,
I just like the construction. And
do you do that in the same key as Stevie? Is it in F sharp? Is that song? Is it in? Or is it C? Oh, it's C sharp, isn't it?
Yeah, I can do that too. But back then, that was like a few years ago. We actually played it in F. I was lucky.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But then back then, I wasn't good on the Chromatic at all, and I just played the melody on the Chromatic just to have the Stevie Wonder sound, and then I let this thing fall down to the ground. There was we had like 7 or 8 Christmas kind of shows. Let this thing fall down to the ground and then switch over to the Diatonic to play the solo. And like one night, this whole thing fell apart on the ground. Everybody was afraid in the band, but I was like, "Oh no worries, it's a CX12. I can quickly put it together again."
Oh right, yeah. So the back plate came out.
Exactly.
It came apart. Yeah. Okay. So you didn't actually break it.
Yeah. So it's super solid.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. They're good for that. They're very easy to dismantle, aren't they? They're like
yeah, and that's like one of the biggest pains with. I didn't start to work on chromatics yet, but like with diatonics and setting them up.
Yeah.
Did you ever do like your own work on diatonics?
Yeah, no, for definite. Yeah, every time I get a new diatonic, I'll always do some sort of basic setup. I'll emboss the reeds. I'll do the gapping a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I pretty much do that on pretty much every new diatonic I buy. And then I'll tune them. And then I do like to. I enjoy it, but it's just a time. It's quite time consuming, and then
Yeah.
Once you've done a little bit, it's not quite right, so you've got to take it apart and do it again. And so, yeah,
Exactly.
I do it, but I wish I had more time. When I eventually retire, I'll do more of it. But yeah, I do it on the diatonics. So the chromatics, I tend to clean them occasionally, and then clean the wind savers so they don't stick. But yeah, they are a bit of a pain to maintain. The chromatics, the diatonics are a lot easier to maintain. Yeah, so don't try to mess too much with the chromatics.
Yeah, I just started to exchange some wind savers on the chromatic and stuff. I can do that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the diatonic, I hate setting them up myself. Because like you don't even know if you got it right. Like you emboss and you do all this stuff, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is perfect. And then you put it back together, and like you actually have to screw it together perfectly to actually get an idea of how things feel.
Yeah.
And only then you can tell, and then it's like still not perfect, and then you got to take it apart again. And
yeah, that's right, as you say, because even if you hold it with your hands and kind of, without screwing it in, it's not right, is it? It's not airtight.
That's not real. That's not reality.
No, So I know you've got your customizer, haven't you? You use, so you're lucky to get that. But yeah, custom harps is interesting. I've got a couple, but I mean, I tend to do myself. I haven't bought too many expensive custom harps. I've got like I think two, which are nice, but obviously they're quite expensive. So it's a jump to.
Can you demonstrate these two?
Do I have them here? That's a good question. I've got one. I've got one of my diatonics. This is from Anthony Danica, who in the UK. So he had a famous harmonica customizer father, whose first name escapes me now. But so Anthony Danica carried on. So this is I don't know if you can see that well. It says Danica Centurion. So yeah, it's got I think it's a custom comb that he made. It is a see-through comb. So
it's got like a Meisterklasse vibe to it.
yeah, it has. Yeah, but it's very nice. I've had this diatonic for quite a long time, and it's still all good and in tune, and it's nice. But for my expensive diatonics, I tend to just use them when I'm doing gigs and performing. I don't practice on them really, so I just leave them for best. So that makes them that last longer as well. Yeah, but that's a nice one.
So that one has an acrylic comb, right?
Yeah, and I actually have another one from Anthony Danica as well, which isn't here. But yeah, that's the one I've got, and I'm supposed to be getting. I'm on the list to get one from Joel Anderson later this year. Yeah, so
wow, how long is that waiting list?
Oh, it's long. Joel's in demand. I think I've waited like when I interviewed him on my podcast, and then I said, oh yeah, I'll have one of your custom ones, and I think it's like 2 years or something. It's at least a year and a half. But I'm going to get a double replay harmonica from him because I've never had a double replay. Have you played a double replay?
I don't think so.
So, I mean, that is literally, I mean, I'm sure you know, but for people listening, it's literally where you put two replates together the same. And it really increases the volume of the harmonica because you're getting the two replates and the gap. The reeds swing more because of you kind of got the double thickness of the replate. So you get a lot more volume out of it. And of course, you've got two reeds as well playing rather than just one. So I was always a bit cautious about these double replates because I've heard people say they don't last so long because the reeds move more. I've heard that they go out of tune quite quickly and they don't necessarily last. But speaking to Joel, he assures me that the way he builds them, that doesn't happen. So I'm sure that'll be the case. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting this double replate one. Just to see, it's like I've never played the double replate one before. So yeah, it'll be interesting to. I'm going to get a. I haven't quite decided, but I'm probably going to get one to play tunes on, traditional tunes. So I'll probably get one in like a G or a D Paddy Richter, and then, then you can increase the volume in sessions because in sessions it's quite noisy and there's violins and things, and so it's if you've got an acoustic harmonica, particularly a low one like a G, which is lower in the range, that they don't cut through so well. They can struggle to get heard a little bit, so I think I might get a G one and then see if I can get maybe an octave apart, so I've got a high range. And I don't know if it works like that. I don't think it does actually, but yeah, I'll maybe get a G one, just get more volume out of the G because it's a bit quiet. Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I think it wasn't like thicker reed plates, I think, but I tried some older Hohner reed material at some point. So Thomas Hanke, he was like, he built a C and a G with this older reed material. But I actually didn't like it. I was like, just put the new stuff in there again.
Yeah, there's they call them like the bell reeds, didn't they? The old ones, which used quite a long time ago. So I think a lot of people did really love those bell reeds. I think the material was a little bit different in the replays. Yeah. And I think they might have been, kind of what Sonny Boy Williamson and Little Walter were using as well. So I think a lot of people do like those older replates, those older reed material. But I do have like a Super Vamper harmonica and, a few of those old ones and pre-war marine bands. So, yeah, they're nice. But, yeah, I think the modern harmonicas are great these days. They're so such good quality. Compared to when I was younger, the quality is so much better these days.
Okay.
Yeah. They're great, yeah, and they're more expensive than they used to be, but you're definitely getting a better quality harmonica for your money these days.
Yeah, That's a crazy waiting list for Joel.
It is.
Yeah. That's what you were talking about, yeah, the $1,000 harmonica he got on there. I never heard somebody play that one.
On his available to buy from Joel?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I haven't seen that one, no. Okay.
The premium Diatonic D10.
Okay, right, yeah. Yeah, he does these different levels of customization, and then they go up at the scale in price. I didn't see the $1,000 one, but yeah, I know his top level ones are quite expensive. And of course, other customizers are available.
Might be pretty new too. I'm not sure if he even started to. Yeah, if you click order, it's just like send an email.
Yeah, well, he must be doing well to have such a long waiting list. You tend to find that some of the customizers tend to have maybe like celebrity customers as well. You see them like making them, and then they're able to afford these expensive harmonicas and order like 12 of them at a time and that sort of thing. So, yeah, good luck. Good for him and other customizers too. Yeah. But you prefer to pick up and play then. Do you even do like tuning, or do you just send it back to? Is it Thomas, your customizer?
I just send it back, and I should send them back again. They get out of tune at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I don't care. I just try to intonate as well as possible, and you can always play lower, right? You can never play higher than the instrument is tuned. So I started to notice sometimes playing classical on the 5-hole blow, I was a little too low in a situation or two. Playing with a higher tuned piano too. Yeah. Or 7-hole draw. And I'm considering to go just equal temperament fully. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to do that as soon as I send them to him. Yeah.
Yeah, in classical, I guess that's an important decision, right, about which tuning you use. I think most of us probably aren't that aware of what tuning we're using. Yeah. I know some people are, but it's not something I don't like go and tune my harmonicas to, like these just intonation and all these different equal temperament and things you can do. So, but the different manufacturers do provide, the different versions, don't they?
And for the chords, it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And if I grab my compromised C harmonica playing the blow and draw chords, that sounds just way better than doing it on the golden melody.
Yeah. So you'll choose that harmonica to, when you play more chords and things, to suit the music, or?
I don't know. I always use the compromised tuning. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm surprised. Somebody like Rochelle Plaus plays gold melodies because she's such a chordal player.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It sounds good. So
yeah, it does.
Who cares in the end? Yeah, that's cool. So what's the next interview you got coming up on the Happy Hour Harmonica podcast?
So the one coming out on this Saturday is with Rolly Platt, who is a Canadian, and that's coming out on Saturday. And then following that is Clint Hoover, who's an American player. So I've got him coming up after that as well. So but I tend not to plan too much ahead. I tend to sort of go with it. Sometimes I have sort of people lined up in general, but I tend not to sort of have people booked up in advance. I quite like sort of keeping it, so I kind of choose them nearer the time. All my podcasts are all edited, so I've got I take the time to obviously research and I edit things afterwards. So they do it in that way. So. I've got a bit of time to put it together.
Cool, yeah. I mean, this wasn't edited at all, but that was a cool one. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to join us here.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Konstantin. Great to speak to you. And again, you're a fantastic player. So thanks very much.
and we took a little picture, and we can still spread the live stream here. I got another one coming up next week with YouTube harmonica teacher, let's say Jonah Fox, right? So yeah, some of you out there might know about him. And then I think we got some women next month, which is amazing. Amazing girls playing amazingly well on the harmonica.
Yeah, good to see. Always good to encourage the female players. I've had some female players on the podcast, but not as many as I'd like. So yeah, it's always good to get some on. Yeah, well done for that.
And next week, Friday, R&B harmonica challenge. You can win a CX12. I should record the announcement video tomorrow, so you got some time to record this weekend, right? And I mean, if you find a song, you can also join.
I'll check it out. See if I can find the time.
I should also play something in the announcement video on the CX12. Maybe something like, I like playing Pastime Paradise.
Oh yeah, very nice.
That's pretty cool.
He doesn't play harmonica on that song, though, does he? So
yeah, but there are videos of Stevie playing that with.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Chick Corea.
Oh right. Oh,
live
cool,
videos.
Yeah. I haven't heard those. You have to check those out. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Oh yeah, some Spanish comments I don't understand. I'm sorry.
If it was only in Arabic, you'd be okay, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. I found some on YouTube. What does slide reversed mean? I'm new to Chromatic. Oh, can you answer that real quick?
I believe when it's, I don't know if it's when it's, you either have the holes at the top or the bottom, so you turn it so that the holes, so the sharps and flats play. If it's a straight tune chromatic, I don't know if people can see the picture. So this is a straight tune. So if you turn the slide around, then you get the sharps playing instead of the non-sharp notes. But if it's a cross-tuned one, which is what, I don't know if that's what Kaffel was referring to, then they alternate between higher and lower as they go through the holes. And if you switch those around, but I think it's a straight slide that does that, but I'm not entirely sure. It's not something I do.
Yeah. Cathal Johnson says, as a tech and customizer myself, I can truthfully say that double reed players do put pressure on the reed, causing them to break sooner. And there's nothing really one can do about it, no matter what.
Thanks, Cathal. That's a good tip, because I'm going to decide to buy this expensive custom harmonica, whether I want to get one which is going to break. So I'll have another chat with Joel about that, because, yeah, I had heard the same. So, yeah, thanks, Cathal, yeah.
Yeah, he also says, I love Niels' Happy Hour Harmonica podcast. So well researched and edited, easy listening, very pro. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. Very kind. I'll pay you later.
Nice. Everybody, see you next week. Thank you for joining.
Thanks all. Bye now.
Bye.
My lady, you know me, no give up on you never. Wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go, now forward and far, backward never. Them they pray, make we run down never, 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 never. I'ma get that low. Girl, you're the best I know. Our next move, they never know, they never know. When you go check low, girl, you're the best I know. Our next move, they never know, they never know. They never know. They never know. Without you, baby, the journey go too rough. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna waiting this up. It's not blessing, I'ma no be luck. Baby, nobody feel day like you. I said nobody feel make me feel the way you do. I'ma get that low. Girl, you're the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never this move, they never